Hello everybody, it's me. I'm back with another album review, and today I'm talking about a man who's a British icon, and he's celebrating his 25-year anniversary as a solo artist, and I'm talking about Robbie Williams, and the album's called 25. And although he's been a solo artist since 1995, and he released his first solo single in 96, but it's been 25 years since he released his first solo album, Live Through a Lens. So I'm giving you my thoughts on some of these songs, so let's get right into it. So this is the deluxe edition, and with 2 CDs, and the CD one starts with Let Me Entertain You. This, of course, is the song that is the show opener, the opening song for most of his shows, and it's still a great opening track. And the first thing I've noticed is that he, not only with this song, but also with some other tracks on this album, that he sings it in a lower key, which I find quite interesting. It's not a bad thing, because I know that he's still capable of singing those songs in the original key, unlike some other rock singers. I don't want to name any names, but but it sounds more mature. So because he recorded this song when he was, I don't know, 22 or something, I would imagine, 22, 23 or something, and now he's 48. So yeah, it's a 25-year gap. It sounds like a Las Vegas show version, you know, and the original was more like a rock and roll circus version, so to speak. So then track 2 is Come Undone. I don't know, it doesn't really work for me on this album, because the orchestral sound doesn't really match the lyrical content. Because in the chorus he sings, they're selling razor blades and mirrors in the street, and in the background you have some strings playing, and it sounds like Walt Disney music. So I don't know, it's not really rock and roll. But yeah, another Robbie Williams classic. So, and then track 3 is Love My Life. This is the song that he wrote about his kids, and it's a lovely song. Not spectacular as such, but yeah, I actually prefer this version over the original, because it sounds more magical in a way without the drums, and it focuses more on the lyrics. And yeah, a gorgeous song. But the most gorgeous song that he ever wrote about his kids, or about his daughter Teddy, is Go Gentle. Yeah, that's a great song. So yeah, but Love My Life was a hit here in Germany, and in some other places as well. Yeah, it came out in 2016 of the Heavy Entertainment Show album. So yeah, it was a big radio hit as well. And then track 4 is Millennium. This is, of course, the song that contains the James Bond You Only Live Twice string sample. So yeah, it's a no-brainer if you do an album with an orchestra. So yeah, it's got to be on there. And so it's not a big difference from the original. They just added some horns to it, and that's pretty much it. But I think the original sounds a bit cooler. And then track 5, The Road to Mandalay. I actually like both versions equally, I would say. It's a great song to when you're in your car and you listen to the radio, and you're driving on a highway, and this is the perfect song for it. And I would say the original, because the original is more up-tempo, the original is a sunrise version, and this is more of a sunset version, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's more, yeah, laid back, so to speak. And but yeah, Road to Mandalay, I just love the country-ish flavor when it comes to the original. But nevertheless, this version is great as well. So yeah, I like both equally. And then the next song is Bodies, one of my favorite Robbie Williams songs. I remember when I first heard that on the radio, I was like, this is going to be a #1 song. And it was. It was #1 here in Germany and some other places. And only #2 in the UK, but yeah, whatever. But I think this is the song, if somebody asked me what is Robbie Williams all about, then I would say Listen to Bodies, you know, because it's got all the elements that Robbie Williams is known for. You got the rap like, you know, vocal delivery in the verses, and you got the electronic gimmicks, and then you have some electronic guitar in the chorus and the big orchestration. And my favorite part is the key change towards the last chorus. That's great. But this version, I don't know, it's a bit boring to me, to be honest. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. But Bodies, like I said, is a great song. So, and the next song is called Candy, another huge hit for him, co-written by Mr. Gary Barlow. And yeah, it's so poppy and so catchy and so uplifting. Yeah, it's a fun song. Not a big difference from the original, just a bit more organic. It's got more organic sounds, but the arrangement is pretty much the same. So, and the next song is Eternity. A gorgeous song, one of my favorite Robbie Williams ballads. And this version is pretty much a mixture between the orchestral version that he did for the Swing When You're Winning album, or the Something Stupid B-side. It was a B-side for Something Stupid, Eternity, this orchestral version, and the original. So it's a mixture of both. And Eternity, yeah, wonderful ballad. So, and then the next song is called No Regrets. This is one of the most interesting versions on this album. And but the only issue I would have with this song is that it's not relevant for Robbie Williams anymore, because this is the song that he wrote about his time in Take That the first time around. And yeah, and he did the song with the guys on the Progress tour, and I think that was a fitting way to let the song rest, so to speak. Even though he sings that the love they officially had is undead. So yeah, but it's definitely, or maybe he sings in another context, with another context these days. But yeah, it's a song about Take That, I would say. So, but nevertheless, No Regrets. It's got a James Bond vibe to it. So yeah, great version. And then She's the One. Probably not many people know this, but it's a cover version actually. It was written by a guy called Carl Wallinger for a band called World Party. And yeah, he wrote the song and they recorded it for the album. And it was Robbie Williams' favorite album when he was in rehab. During that time, he listened to the World Party album, and She's the One was the song that he thought was worth recording to bring it to a wider audience. And it worked out, right? It was the #1 song in the UK, and because let's face it, does anybody really know the original? So I doubt it. But I think many people think that it's a Robbie Williams song, but it's a cover version actually. And the interesting thing is that, a little side note, that the drummer of World Party was Chris Sharrock. And Chris Sharrock also played on Robbie's version, and he was a long-time drummer for Robbie Williams. And after that, he became the drummer for Oasis. And after Oasis disbanded, he became the drummer for BDI, Liam Gallagher's band. And after BDI disbanded, he's now the drummer for Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. So he basically went from one extreme to the other. And but what I like about She's the One is that it's so simple from a melodic point of view in the verses. Do you know what I mean? I was her, she was me, we were one, we were free. If there's somebody calling me on, she's the one. So yeah, great song, lovely song. So, and then Feel, classic Robbie Williams song, a great song, my opinion, one of his best lyrics, and I'm glad they kept the piano riff in there. It's great piano riff, and I'm sure Guy Chambers, his longtime collaborator, came up with that, and Rob wrote the words. And yeah, I'm glad they kept the piano riff in it. And also what I like about this version is that it's got organic drums or acoustic drums, whatever you want to call it. I like that. But I miss the slide guitar solo in this version. So yeah, but it's quite difficult to rearrange those songs after 20 years. Or because you know those songs for 20 years, so it's always difficult to rearrange those songs if you're so familiar with it. By the way, this album was produced by Guy Chambers together with Richard Flack, and it was recorded with the Metropole Orchestra, a Dutch orchestra, and it was conducted by Jules Buckley. That's a little side note, but like I said, I have to say it again, Feel, great song, one of my favorites. So, and then Rock DJ, another Robbie Williams classic. Gosh, you realize how many hits this guy had over 25 years, so unbelievable. And this sounds more like a 70s disco version. So, and it actually contains a Barry White sample, so it makes sense. But again, the original sounds a bit cooler. It's the same with Millennium. So, and then Kids. This, of course, the song that he did with the wonderful Kylie Minogue. And yeah, as far as I know, they recorded their vocals separately because Robbie lives in LA and I don't know where Kylie lives, but they recorded the vocals separately anyway. But she came back, and it's not much big difference from the original. So, and then Angels. Who does know that song? And absolute classic song. Yeah, unbelievable. It's a brilliant tune. And this, of course, the song that saved Robbie Williams' career back then. I still don't understand why they chose that as the fourth single of that first album. Because the first single was Old Before I Die. I get it. It's quite catchy. Yeah, it made sense. But then they released Lazy Days as the second single. I'm going to talk about that later. And then the third single was South of the Border. That's the thing I never understand. So, yeah, and this, of course, was pretty much the last chance for him because he was on the verge of being dropped. And Angels was his very last chance to make an impact, and it worked out for him. And the album sold through the roof, and yeah, that was pretty much the first big milestone in his career and the platform on which his solo career was launched. I actually like both versions equally. This version sounds so majestic. You can say, yeah, it sounds cheesy or whatever, yeah, but it's a lovely tune. So, and he sounds wonderful on it. And that's what I realized is that I've seen Robbie Williams live in concert 2 weeks ago. And I've never seen Robbie Williams as a singer, if you know what I mean. For me, he's an entertainer who sings. So, and I think he doesn't really care about a great technique or something like that. He just sings how he feels. And but when he sang Eternity, for instance, I realized again, wow, he's still got a nice voice. He's still got a good voice. So, and then the new single Lost. This is the song that he wrote about his time during the late 90s, early noughties. And yeah, it's got a nostalgic vibe to it. And then CD2 starts with Lazy Days. One of my favorites, another one of my favorites Robbie Williams tune. It's quite underrated. Like I said, it was the second single. It's not really that radio friendly as such, or to rephrase it, it's not really a song that you would think it's going to be a big hit. But that's what I like about this song, that it doesn't sound like a big hit. It's a perfect soundtrack for a lazy Sunday morning. What's interesting is that if you compare those two versions, the original and this version, the original sounds like Oasis. I mean, come on, you cannot deny that. You could tell that he hung out with the Gallaghers from time to time back then. And there's definitely an Oasis influence in there. And yeah, it could have easily sung by Liam Gallagher. It's just the way it is. But with this version and with the orchestra singing in the lower key, it pretty much sounds like a Noel Gallagher song now. It's got a little bit of Everybody's on the Run, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds kind of vibe. So, but Lazy Days, yeah, quite an underrated tune in my opinion, but it's a lovely tune, so I love it. And then Disco Symphony. This is a song that he wrote for Kylie Minogue. It didn't work out for some reason, so now he did it for this album, and it makes sense with the orchestra, so it sounds like a 70s disco track, and yeah, a nice song. Robbie Williams can do a lot of styles, you know, pop, rock, swing, dance, disco, so the only thing he shouldn't do is rap. Root Box, ugh. Yeah. Ironically, I think it's still one of his favorite songs. I think it was an interesting path for him to experiment and for the audience to hear something new. But I don't think that rap is his forte, but anyway. So, and then Better Man. This is in a totally different key. I think this is in a lower octave or something. But it makes sense because it shows, yeah, that he's now a grown-up, so to speak, a family man with kids, whereas 20 years ago he was struggling with drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. And yeah, he wanted to try to be a better man, and now he is a better man. So I think that comes across nicely on this version. So yeah, wonderful. And then Into the Silence, an album track from the Take the Crown album in 2012. And I think this is one of his favorite album tracks, because this is already the third version he did of this song. He did the original for the album, and then he did another version, ambient mix for Under the Radar, and now this version with the orchestra. So yeah, a nice song, and it shows his vocal range. You know, he's, like I said, he's still a good singer. So there you have it, Robbie Williams 25. I'm going to show you a bit of a booklet, because this is one of the reasons why I still like to buy CDs, because it's a trip down memory lane, ladies and gentlemen, with all the photos. And yeah, what a long career. There we have the James Bond tribute for Millennium, and the tripping, and the football shirt that appeared on the Sing When You're Winning album cover. And what else? The cowboy jacket. And yeah, do I have to say anything about that? It's still a cool video to this day. I think it was its time ahead at that time, and yeah, most video stations banned or cut out the last part of that video where he stripped everything off. It's the same with Come Undone. He had some quite controversial videos back then. Yeah, some other photos, new stuff, old stuff, and the credits. So sometimes I wonder, did he ever think back then that he would have a 25-year career as a solo artist? Because let's face it, when he was in Take That the first time around, he was a backing vocalist for most of the time. Apart from 2 or 3 lead vocal tracks, that's it. You know, he was a backing vocalist and a dancer. Yeah, and Gary Barlow did all the writing and sang most of the leads. So, but the interesting part is whenever Robbie Williams had the opportunity to be in the spotlight, if you watch some of the old Take That Live videos, whenever he was in the spotlight, he took it and smashed it. So because he's a born entertainer. And also he said it 2 weeks ago during the concert, that's actually 32 years since he first started out. He was 16 years old when he got in that band. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This was my album review of Robbie Williams 25. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a long video, I know, but I have to say a little bit more about those songs, about this album, than just say, oh, it's a good album, bye. So, yeah, and also it's a great collection of songs, 28 songs, 29 with the Angels Beethoven thing. And if you're a Robbie Williams fan, it's a no-brainer. Go and get it. And if you're a casual Robbie Williams listener, then I think it's worth checking it out, because yeah, it's not only it's a great collection of songs with the hits and some album tracks and new songs, but also I think it's a good way to rediscover things or to discover things you haven't noticed before. So yeah, and if you're not really familiar with Robbie Williams, I think you should check it out as well, because like I said, it's got the hits and some deep cuts. And yeah, great collection of songs. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment in the comment section below and give me a like and subscribe or whatever. You know all the options. Yeah. So but I'm curious to see what you have to say. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching.